What's up? Yes, the heels are off and the game is on. It's the Sports Talk Diva. Welcome to this episode of Heels Off, Game On. It was a wild and crazy weekend of football, and of course, I always kick it off with college football. That is my favorite. I want to talk a little bit about the top 10. Of course, you know, the top 25 comes out every week, and every spot in the top 25 has changed. Every spot. So every week it is changing. The only mainstay has been Ohio State at number one. I mean, they didn't open up number one, but after the first week, they took that number one spot and they have not looked back. So, you know, Ohio State could do a repeat. I'm not sure who's going to beat them right now, but it's still early. So we shall see. So Ohio State is holding that number one spot. Indiana is number two. Yes, Indiana beat Michigan State. Michigan State lost to Indiana 38-13. Okay. And actually, Michigan State is 0-4. They're 0-4 in Big Ten conference play, which is putting a lot of pressure on Coach Jonathan Smith. He is under pressure, trust me. But Indiana, 38-13 over Michigan State, put them in the number two spot. Number three is Texas A&M. Texas A&M is number three, and they actually hadn't been in the top 10 since 1995, okay? Since 1995, guys. So Texas A&M is number three. Number four is Alabama. Alabama is looking good, okay? Alabama could be that team in the SEC. They lost to Florida State opening week, and they regrouped, rebounded, came back, and they are looking good. So they're holding that fourth spot. Number five is Georgia. Georgia played Ole Miss. It was a good game. It was a good game, and Georgia came out victorious. So Georgia's holding that number five spot. Oregon is number six. And at number seven is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had a tough game. Okay, they did have a tough game, but they came out on top. I believe they played like Duke. I don't even have it in front of me, but Georgia Tech, they had to come from behind. They did. And they're still undefeated, and they're looking good in the ACC. They are at number seven. Number eight is Ole Miss. Okay, Ole Miss dropped. Of course, they lost to Georgia, so dropped them down in the polls. Number nine is the U. Miami. Louisville. Unranked Louisville went into the U and took Miami down. As a matter of fact, Carson Beck had like 4 picks. He was like being touted as one of the Heisman favorites. But after that game, But they're still in the top 10. They're at number 9. Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is number 10. Okay. Vanderbilt, and I've got some notes on them, and I cannot find them. But I know Vanderbilt hasn't been in the top 10 since like 1940 something. So I apologize. I had it, but I don't have it in front of me. Oh no, I do have it. Since 1947, guys. So Vanderbilt is in the top 10. and they haven't held that spot since 1947. Now, they beat LSU, which dropped LSU to number 20. Fans are growing increasingly tired of Coach Kelly at LSU. They want him to either, listen, we got to win this thing. We need to take the SEC. We need to get into playoffs. We need to get a championship. We're through with you, Coach Kelly. It's LSU fans are growing tired of Coach Kelly. But they're still in the top 25 at number 20. But Vanderbilt, they're holding that 10 spot. So, which brings me to, of course, my team. Everybody knows that I'm a Clemson fan, and in NFL, I'm a Falcons fan. So not much to talk about with Clemson. We lost. We played at home, which means nothing with us because home field advantage doesn't mean anything to us. We will lose a game at home. No problem. So being at home didn't matter. We played SMU. And of course, we beat SMU last year for the ACC championship. That's not going to happen this year, so we don't even have there's no promise there that we'll be in any ACC championship game. But nonetheless, we did not have Cade Klubnik. Cade was hurt. I can't remember who the backup is or was, but I just know that we didn't do enough on defense to stop them, and we certainly didn't do enough on offense. We took the L in Death Valley. So I don't know what to say about Clemson. Like, I just don't. I just hope that we make the changes that we need to make, get the recruits that we need to get, and get back to that dominance that we had years ago. So that's it on Clemson. And now the rest of college football, I'm just going to touch on maybe potentially a few Heisman candidates. That has been ever changing. As I mentioned, the top 25 has been changing like crazy. So I mentioned earlier that Carson Beck was in the running. He was one of those guys that was being touted as a Heisman candidate. But after Friday's performance against Louisville, and he had not one, but two, and three, four picks, he's not being talked about now. That could change. He could rebound from that and then just play the rest of the season lights out, and he's right back in the running. Right now, it's looking like it could be Ty Simpson, okay, from Alabama. Ty Simpson has been looking good. Okay, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. Yeah, he's looking like he could be a potential candidate, quarterback. And let's not forget Dante Moore from Oregon. Could be another potential candidate. Also, Julian Sayin for Ohio State. I think right now that's my favorite. I think if they run the table, Julian keeps playing the way he's playing, I think he will be holding that Heisman up, after this season is over. Also, let's not forget about his teammate, Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver. Love Jeremiah Smith. I mean, he is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, great receiver. I don't see him getting it. It's usually always a quarterback's. It's usually a quarterback always winning. Not saying that over the years there's been other positions who have won the Heisman, but it's mostly always a quarterback taking that home. So right now, I'm going to say Julian Sayin would be my choice. Now, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. There were some interesting games, some great games this past weekend. Of course, we started off on, I think, Sunday morning with the Rams. Matthew Stafford carved the Jags up, the Jaguars. That was a horrible game. It wasn't even a good game to watch, only if you were a Rams fan. But that was, that's how Sunday morning started. And then, of course, there were the Cowboys and the Commanders. I mean, the Cowboys really took control of that game, and they just never looked back. They looked really good. Dak was throwing lights out. He got his number one receiver back in CeeDee Lamb, and they looked good. The Eagles. The Eagles played the Vikings, and Jalen did his thing, and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and the defense did what they needed to do to get the stops, and they were victorious. Kansas City. Kansas City looked good, and they look like they're back. They got Rashid Rice back. They're starting to come around, guys. Don't count them out. Kansas City is not done. Okay, I mean they did play the Raiders, which the Raiders are having a horrible season. So it was like a blowout. I think it was like 31-0. So that was just a horrible game to watch. Another interesting game was the Giants and the Broncos, and the Giants had that game. The Broncos had to come back from a deficit, and they did just that. The Giants blew it. Their field goal kicker, their kicker missed the extra point, and then the defense didn't get the stops that they needed to get to get the win. So that was just a lost opportunity and a blown game by the Giants. Now, I'll wrap up with, in terms of the NFL and some of the games, with my Atlanta Falcons. Very disappointed. We were coming off of a great win against a great team in Buffalo. We were fired up. We were hopeful that, we can continue this thing. We can continue this little winning streak. Keep it going. Keep it going. Yes, we're going places. We're going to take that NFC South. We're going to the playoffs, and we're going to do it. Well, and it still could happen, and hopefully we'll get a wild card spot. I don't know. But right now, we're in third place. Like we are behind the Panthers. The Panthers won on Saturday, so we are third. It's the Bucks, the Panthers, and then the Falcons. But getting back to the game, that just didn't happen for us. The offense never really got going. I could see it and feel it from the beginning. I said, "Oh, this is not going well." We got outcoached and we got outplayed. Okay? No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, they showed us, yes. And coaching does matter. Coaches coach, and players play. I really do believe that. Good coaching really helps. They put together a game plan showing that they were ready for us. Whatever we were showing them on offense, they were ready for us on defense. Our O-line at times, I understand, yes, our right tackle, Elijah Wilkinson, he is a backup to Caleb McGarry. So Caleb McGarry's out for the whole season. Elijah has been doing pretty good all year, but he got handled on Sunday night. Okay, Penix, there were times where he was overshooting guys, underthrowing, just all sorts of things. I just feel a whole lot of different ways about the Falcons, and I could go on, and I'm not going to, because I know not everyone is a Falcons fan, but for me, I'm a little passionate about it because it is my team. But we definitely need another wide receiver. We need a WR2 for sure. I know we have Drake, but we need another weapon. Boy, I'd love to have like a CeeDee Lamb type guy. I would love to have a Justin Jefferson type guy. I would love to even have an Emeka Ibuka. Okay, I really would. But we need definitely a WR2 for sure. I feel like we need to run the ball more. Christian McCaffrey got the better of the running game between he and Bijan. Bijan, we know, is one of the best in the business. He is, but he is not getting the ball enough. Okay, we had a 4th and 1, and what do? We throw it. We throw it to Drake London. We didn't get it. It was 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, but I'm pretty sure it was 4th and 1. All we needed was a yard or two. Why not give it to your best player? Okay, your best run. Give it to him. Give it to him more. But anyway, I'm going to get off of that because I just feel a way that we lost that game to a team that's really banged up. No Fred Warner, no Bosa, no Purdy, a lot of backups. And we still did not get the dub. So very disappointed in what the Falcons did this past Sunday. So there it is on that. A little bit about my studs and duds, the guys who shined and the guys who just, the light was a little dim. So my studs. What do I have for my studs? Okay. I got Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Yes, Christian ran for over 201 yards. They hit over 200 yards on us. The run defense didn't do what they needed to do there. Christian did his thing, and they came out on top. I talked about this one. Matthew Stafford threw for 5 touchdowns, okay? And just blew out the Jags. I don't know if they were jet lagged, tired, or whatever the case may have been, but they didn't show up. Okay, so Matthew Stafford, you are a stud. Dak, I've talked about Dak before on my studs and duds, and Dak seems to be a stud pretty much every week, every other week, whatever the case may be. But he had 3 touchdowns, okay, over the Commanders, and he had his number 1 target back in CeeDee Lamb, which I'm sure he was happy to have him back, and they certainly dominated. And for that, Dak, you are a stud. My other stud goes to Bo Nix of the Broncos. The Broncos, like I said, came back from a deficit. They did what they needed to do. Bo got it done. The Broncos got it done. And for that, Bo Nix, this past week, you were a stud. And my other stud was Jalen. Ooh, it hurt so good. Jalen, you're a stud. Jalen had actually over 326 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 picks. So for that, Jalen, you are a stud. Now, for my duds. My first dud is Tua Tagovailoa. You know what? Let me just leave this alone because I know how to pronounce his name and I'm getting all tongue-tied. So I'm going to say Tua, okay? Tua of the Miami Dolphins, you are a dud. He had 3 picks. It was like his worst outing, okay? I mean, it just, nothing went right. But anyway, Tua Tagovailoa, you were a dud last week. My other one, he's been on my dud list as well, and that is Geno Smith. Geno, 67 yards passing. That's just not going to get it done. So for that and that blowout that y'all took, Geno, you are a dud. And then my other dud is just the whole Jets team. The Jets are still winless. Like, I really am pulling for Aaron Glenn as a first-year coach. I'm looking for him to get that first dub. I think he'll probably celebrate and maybe pop champagne when they do. But for right now, Justin Fields, no. And it looks like he is going to be benched. So, Justin Fields and that whole Jets team, y'all were duds this week. Okay, so that wraps up my studs and my duds. And tonight, okay, the NBA is on its way. It opens tonight. I will be covering some NBA, I'm sure probably on next week. So excited to get the NBA rolling. As you guys know, it's a long season in the NBA. I mean, the championship won't be played until June of next year. So we got a long way to go. But it's exciting that the NBA is opening up tonight. And then let's not forget about the World Series. It took a 7-game series for Toronto Blue Jays to come out on top. So Los Angeles Dodgers is waiting for them. So you got the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Dodgers are the reigning champions, and they are looking like they could repeat as well. but it's going to be the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. That series will start later this week, and I will be updating you guys on that. So that's it for now for Heels Off, Game On. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. Have a week of victory and success, guys. Take care.